How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Am I? Oh, it's been recorded for me, which is handy. Oh, yeah, I'm great. I love the movie. I just watched it this afternoon, and it was just so, I don't know, just kind of entertaining, but there's something quite profound about it as well. I thought I just really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Glad you enjoyed it.
So I'm going to start. I mean, I just wondered if you remember when you were first approached about this idea of there being a documentary made about you, and if you had any apprehensions initially, or if you were quite keen from the get-go.
It was my idea to do it.
Oh.
I really wanted to prove myself, so I went to Bryn Mooser of XTR, and he was the first person to really believe in it. My wife was like, she was scared of the fact that I could really get hurt. She didn't understand wrestling. She eventually came on and produced the whole thing, and we got these incredible directors, David Darg and James Price, to shoot it, and they did such a great job and sort of setting it up so it was started from the bottom and like backyard wrestling and just sort of worked our way up the whole thing into indie wrestling and just, really, leading up to the match with Mr. Ken Anderson, which was really fun. And it sort of did this full circle thing where the first night we were filming, we got into this bar fight. And then at the end, there's acceptance. So it's real. It was a real journey. It was a real thing I wanted to do because I wanted to prove myself to the wrestling community that I didn't mean to disrespect it.
Yeah, I mean, is it quite a tough watch for you? Because I mean, it's incredibly personal, isn't it? It's a kind of warts and all piece of filmmaking. I mean, just not just about your career, but very much about your personal life. I just wondered if how it is for you to watch it back, if it's quite tough, and if there's any scenes in particular you sort of have to look away.
Oh yeah, my wife, who we produced it together, she had me have to leave the editing room. I wasn't wasn't allowed to be there, but it was a big lesson for me to sort of like, I mean, I think the best art comes from being vulnerable, being open, being honest. So sort of allowing them to, you know, to cut it any way they saw fit was a good lesson in me in sort of trust and just not trying to control everything.
I think it's quite an inspiring story in many ways as well, because it's kind of an incredible comeback. You have this kind of resilience and this kind of never say die attitude. We have a phrase over here in England which we use for kind of soccer, which is bounce back ability. And I think you've got a lot of bounce back ability.
Good.
But what keeps you going? What is it that kind of ignites that fire in your belly just to never stop?
Ultimately, I want to entertain people. That's what I've been doing my whole life. And it's really, even whatever films you do, you hope they turn out really well and that the audience is going to respond to it. So that's a big drive of mine in a career place to do things. And then I've learned too that when you combine something you love with your business and you have the people that are helping you do it, people that you care about and love too, that you get a magic element that you kind of can't quantify. It's just something you have to trust. You have to bring the right people together. It's something you believe in. And then despite how it does one way or another, you're having a fun experience with these people that you care about, and people are getting employed. Hopefully if it does well, then people will reap the rewards from that too.
And I mean, obviously, it's not just about like the present day or the future. It's very much about your early career as well. Looking back now, sort of watching the film retrospectively, is there anything you would have done differently if you could go back?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't really believe in regretting so much. I believe in learning from it. But yeah, there's tons of stuff. I mean, I'm the type of person that likes to be busy and do things and like to be productive. So sitting around a lot in Hollywood wasn't for me. And a lot of actors are very specific about their choices and will take a year or two off until the right project comes out. And I know my father was a working actor for 45 years. So I always had this thing inside me that you got to get out, you have to work, you have to continue to work. So if anything I'd change is just being a little more selective. I would also change sort of my, if I could have learned what I learned through the process of this film, that you have to love yourself That's one of the most important things. If I could have learned that earlier, that would have helped sort of with me beating myself up, you know, addiction issues and all that.
Of course, the film also touches upon. I mean, obviously, for so many people, they knew you sort of growing up for the role in Scream, and the film touches upon that role in some ways unfairly, then typecasting you in the industry. But of course, you're set to reprise your role as Dewey soon. So, with that in mind, how are you kind of excited about stepping back into his shoes, or is there a sort of a slight sense of not resentment, but just kind of? I'm just wondering about how you feel about returning to a character that in the film you do speak about maybe having a detrimental effect on your career.
Well, that was sort of, they're telling a story in the thing. I mean, I blame like the sort of fall in my career more for my off-camera behavior of being drunk outside my club and getting caught by TMZ, you know, stuff like that is, you know, more detrimental than any kind of role. And especially, you know, Scream did tremendous things for me. It you know, made me, my value as an actor improve. It was a film I was proud of. I loved playing the role, and I look forward to playing it again. So it's more sort of in the storytelling of this specific, you know, thing. I don't blame wrestling at all for, you know, having an effect on my career. It's more the choices that I made along the way. You know, a sort of more serious actor, quote unquote, would be more selective about their specific roles that they would do. But for me, I always like doing things that I enjoy. I love horror films. So to me, it's not a negative at all. It's just an exciting, fun character that resonated with the fans. And that's a big part of it, doing it for the fans as well.
So my final question was just, I mean, obviously the film ends in this quite a profound and quite moving end, obviously touching upon the passing of your dear friend Luke Perry. I was just wondering about going forward now in wrestling for yourself, because that was something so special that you shared together, was wrestling. And I just wondered if that's partly what helps you kind of when going forward, going back into wrestling, if the memory of the times you shared with Luke really kind of helps inspire you to get back in that ring.
It really, I love it because it brought us together, and I hadn't seen him in a while. I hadn't seen him since Alexis had passed. So it helped in bringing that together, but it also helped me form a relationship with Jack Perry, who I'd seen growing up a few times, but I hadn't really gotten to know. And we have since gotten to know each other really well. And I love watching him on AEW every week. And that's really been a real joy to watch. But as far as, I don't even know if I'll wrestle again. I mean, I love wrestling, but I really, I feel like I don't know. A lot of people don't want me to ever wrestle again. So, and then also some of the bigger companies kind of aren't interested at all. I think if this film does well, then maybe I'll get some calls. But, and also the indie circuit's really cool just to go and meet the fans. So maybe like as a manager or something. I love wrestling with my tag team partner, RJ City, too. So I wouldn't count tag teams out.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you so much, David, for your time today. It's been a real pleasure, and best of luck with everything you do. I think you really deserve it.
Hey, thank you so much.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,